Blue Lock genuinely left me speechless today, as the match finally ends, but not in the way you could have ever imagined. But to know any more, you will have to wait, but trust me, there is a ton more stuff, so get ready. Alright, so starting off this chapter, also called Destiny, the text says that, last play in the match against France, the fateful goal, what will the outcome be? Anyway, with that out of the way, we see both Rin and Isagi looking the most locked in I have ever seen them looking. Rin obviously looking like a straight animal and beast with his rage aura around him and his tongue going from side to side, and Isagi being in his white state and having puzzle pieces around his eyes and face while making a really serious expression. Now that's all fun and games, but not anymore. As in the next panel, we see both of them at the same time striking the ball. Now this is honestly mind-blowing, as we see a panel behind the ball, and here it looks so sick. We also see, like no joke, but a ton of lightning bolts starts to appear around the ball due to the sheer force of their combined shot. But then in the next panel, I can't believe my eyes, as we sadly see the ball hitting the crossbar. Yeah, you heard that right. The ball didn't go into the goal, and none of our star boys got the goal, as it instead hit the crossbar and starts to bounce away. Now I'm extremely sad because of this, but I'm far from the only one. As we see both Isagi and Rin, and looking at their faces, we can clearly see just how crushed and destroyed the two of them look, like they fully look to be filled with despair. We also see Karasu, Shido, and Baru, all three of them, also looking just really crushed by this. But someone who isn't going to just be standing around and looking lost, that's none other than the speed star Loki, who we can see is keeping close eyes on the ball which is soaring in the sky, and he decides to put anything but the brake in as we see him going extremely fast towards the ball. We then see him managing to grab a hold of the ball, even with Karasu and Kunigami being right by it. Kunigami even jumped up and was going to try and head away the ball, but it didn't matter against Loki. We then actually get this super insane looking Loki panel, as he has a really dope and minimal looking aura around him while almost gripping onto the field, as he with dead eyes tells Blue Lock goodbye. Which isn't good to hear for Blue Lock's perspective, but you get what I mean. We do spot Otoya being ahead of Loki, but it doesn't even take a single second for Loki to then be already around Otoya without him even realizing what had happened, which is kind of insane. Anyway, we then move back to Isagi, who still looks filled with completely despair and agony, but those expressions seems to quickly turn into anger as he starts to grit his teeth together and starts to curse out. Isagi then starts to take a deep breath as he looks at Hugo, who is running away and towards Blue Lock's goal. Isagi then in his head says that by dragging it into a showdown of luck, he should have won the one-on-one battle against Hugo. And yet, at the very end, Rin came in, and the impact of his shot was thrown off, making it miss. Now, while I think all of us can agree that it was Rin's fault that the shot went astray and hit the crossbar, I still can't be fully mad at him because that shot, it was just looking so insane. We then actually see Rin, who just looks mad as he is trying to work his way back. We then move back to Isagi, who still in his head starts saying that if only Rin wasn't there, and if he hasn't there to stop him, then they should have won, which is fair. But as he says that, we can see that an image of Ego pops up in his head. He thinks about Ego saying that everyone should be a striker, encouraging them to keep aiming for their own goal until the very last second. This seems to make Isagi really think, and it looks like something finally clicks for him. But then, in the next panel, it looks like it's all gone away, as he starts to look confused. He continues his thoughts as he says that according to that philosophy, Rin's action for aiming for the goal should have been the right one, and yet because of that they lost. This really starts to make Isagi confused and just questioning everything, as he wonders if Ego's theory actually lost right here, and it sounds like he might start to question Ego from now on. But with that, we then move back to Loki, who we can easily see have just had his fun and completely destroyed the entire Blue Lock team solely by himself. We even saw Aiku trying his absolute best to try and come in Loki's way and stop the ball. But it didn't matter as Loki still sent off the ball at the goal. We then moved over to Gagamaru, who also tried to do everything in his power to save Blue Lock from this embarrassing goal, but not even him could keep a shot from Loki away as the ball goes right into the net. And with that, Isagi starts to wonder if Blue Lock has actually collapsed. After that, we move to the commentator, and I just love him because he is always just filled with so much excitement. We see him screaming goal with the loudest voice that he possibly can. We then see the France crowd being super happy as they scream and even roar out of happiness. The commentator continues as he explains that Loki's 6-man solo dribble counterattack. The champions score their 4th goal, and with that we also see a very depressed and sad Japanese crowd, as not long after that the referee blows the whistle. The commentator then keeps going as he says that here it is, ruthlessly. The whistle blows to end the first match. More than any striker from the Blue Lock project is the one closest to becoming the world's best. After all, the prodigy Loki Japan versus France score 2-4. It's a defeat for Blue Lock Japan. As he says that, we also see a ton of sad faces from the Blue Lock side. We see all of the players finally breathing out like crazy. But under them, we have Henri, who she looks closely at this, and it seems like her whole world has just scattered as she looks genuinely super crushed, more than I ever think that I have seen her look. Under her, it's of course Ego, but he doesn't seem to say anything, as he's just silent and looking at this. After that, we switch sides and we get over to France. Here we see Loki, who is starting to yawn, and he really looks unimpressed. He then speaks up and calls them small fries. He starts to walk away and says that it's over now anyway, explaining that even though they call it the super popular Blue Lock, he guesses this is all that they've got. However, he does admit that it did get a little bit thrilling at times. After that, it's just a weird pause and silence from him and Hugo, before Hugo decides to end it as he tells Loki that it's true. Hugo then goes to take a look at the Blue Lock players, as he says that a philosophy where everyone is a striker collapsed because they self-destructed due to their own beliefs. He then waits up and stares right at the players as he continues with his speech. He says that a group of egoists whose destiny is to fall short of winning the World Cup and whose suitability is to scatter halfway through. It's then Hugo's turn to start to walk, as he then looks with a menacing face as he tells them goodbye and calls them his cogs of destiny, who will never cross paths with him again. But just as he says that, we see our goat speaking up. Isagi tells him not to give him that goodbye crap. He stands right behind Hugo as he tells him that his logic was completely destroyed by his luck. This really seems to catch Hugo's attention, so he waits up. Isagi then tells Hugo that even he should understand that right, telling him that what was destroyed wasn't just Blue Lock. It means his theory of destined aptitude was destroyed too, saying that with that, he is the legend of humanity, 4-time World Cup champion. Isagi then starts to let out a mockingly laugh before he then starts to look absolutely demonic and super fired up and ready as he tells Hugo not to run away, calling him a number 2 bastard. We then see Hugo as he actually looks towards Isagi before he, like no joke, lets out a smile, which I'm not sure if we have ever seen before. But he tells Isagi that he is annoying before telling him that they should meet again and calls him an egoist. Now just seeing Hugo smile was actually so weird. It really looks strange. Alright, that sounds a bit mean, but I'm sure that we have never seen him do it before. But with that, the text says that the U20 World Cup group stage, Match 3, Japan versus France, ends with France winning 2-4. The ending text then says, "The battle was fated, yet victory and defeat were not decided at once, and the rivalry between the two still remained unresolved." After that, I can also let you guys know that there is no break next week, which is just awesome as always, and the next chapter will be called This Is It. Now that title is firstly like super broad, so it's far to make any like really good guesses, but even then, I'm out of ideas. But let me know if you guys have any predictions on what the next chapter could be about. One thing which I really want to see in the next chapter, however, is the players going into the changing room and having a discussion with Ego. I really want to know if Isagi will continue to think and somewhat question Ego's theory, or if he will drop it. And on top of that, I feel like this is their first real loss, so I'm really excited to hear what Ego has to say about this entire match. If he is satisfied even as they lost, or if he knows something that they could have done better to then have a better chance of winning. But that's what I personally is hoping to see. But please feel free to let me know down in the comments what it is that you want to see. And also let me know what you thought about this entire overall chapter. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel. And while you are at it, leave a comment and a like. Also, if you can hype the video down below, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you're curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video which will be popping up on the screen now.